All right, shall we?
Yes.
Good morning and welcome back to Draper's Startup House, Chiang Mai. I'm so excited to be hanging out this morning with my friend Catherine Vanesse. How are you doing?
Good. And you?
Doing very well. So we've known each other for quite some time. We've been following each other's activities around.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the work that you do, supporting the arts, and as a journalist, sort of covering the community and culture here in Chiang Mai. And you've come to so many of my events over the years, whether it's here at Draper Startup House or the Entrepreneurship Association. So yeah. So tell our audience a little bit, Catherine. What do you do?
So my main job is a journalist. Right now, and for already 1.5 years, I'm working for lepetitjournal.com. It's a French worldwide media with around 70 offices around the world, and 2 in Thailand, 1 in Bangkok, 1 in Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
So it's really like a international media for the expat and foreigner living abroad.
I think one of the cool things about Chiang Mai is that there are so many different communities here, right? So there's an expat English-speaking community, but there's also like a sizable expat like French-speaking community.
Yeah.
And enough that you have things to cover for a whole magazine.
Yeah, that's also why, the branch here in Chiang Mai is quite new. We opened it in September.
Yeah.
Because we really realized that there is a lot of things to cover about Chiang Mai. Especially when you live there and you're like, oh, I want to talk about this, but like maybe the national edition is like, oh, no, this is maybe too small, but for like local, yes.
It's niching down and targeting and getting closer to your customer,
Yes.
right? But I think it's such a positive feedback loop, right? Because there are journalists like yourself around who give more voice and amplification and coverage to like arts and activities and events here. It makes those things more successful, and because those things are more successful, there's more of them, and you have more things to cover. So
Yes.
I say you play a vital role in the ecosystem here.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think so?
I'm saying this. I think you're wonderful. So tell us about your background in journalism, right? Did you always, were you always covering stories internationally? Was this your dream? How did you come about this path?
Oh, no, I was not international journalist before. I studied more like communication and multimedia, so I was not sure exactly if I will arrive in journalism. But then, really quickly, my first job, I was working for 2 newspapers in Belgium. And then I've been working for many years, for 8 years, for a TV channel in Belgium. That was a really great experience. So I was really like in Belgium. And then at 30 years old, I decided to take a break and travel around Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And after, of course, a few months traveling around, I was like, I think I really like Thailand. And I want to know more. I want to really see how is a local life and really to immerse myself here. And one great thing about Thailand is like they give a visa for the journalist.
Right.
Because when you decide to really set up in a place, of course you need to look. Is it possible to stay, to work? There is any French media, and there is French media here. So it's like, oh, okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
And now it's been 7 years.
7 years.
And so then it's possible to work as a journalist, as a freelance mostly, and so that's great.
Yeah, I think your story is a common one, right? So many people who are part of our community here in Chiang Mai come just on holiday, they're not like planning to like move their entire life necessarily, but they come and they're just like, oh, there's something about Thailand and I'm just gonna stay a little longer or keep coming back.
Yeah, but like when you decide to really change country, at first you need to try.
Yeah.
Because
Baby steps.
Except if you have like already a contract from a company that say, hey, move there.
Sure.
But when you don't have anything, it's like you need to feel. How is the country? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel safe? Is there is any opportunity? So then you need to check it first. So that's I think why people, first they travel, then stay a bit longer, and and then maybe stay forever.
Yeah. Do you think you can put your finger on like what it is that made you want to stick around? Was it the people? Was it the food? Was there a particular event that was just like, this is where I'm going to spend my time now?
Or you know, it's more that I feel that I still don't know much about Thailand.
Yeah.
So I'm reading a lot. I'm talking with a lot of people, and more I make some research. I talk with people. Less I feel I know. So then more I want to stay to continue to try to understand and to share what I know, what I discover, what the people I meet.
So maybe that's it. Like there's an itch, a curiosity. You want to know more, and so the deeper, the longer you hear, the deeper you get pulled in. And so there's a nice that feels good to you. You're someone who likes to explore things, right?
Yes,
definitely. Yeah. You do a lot of work covering like arts and culture in Chiang Mai, right? So you did this like super awesome secret art night event. Was it already a couple months ago?
It
like,
was in
feels
November.
Like a blink of, that felt like a blink of an eye ago. Can you tell us a little bit more about about that event, about art, venues, events, activities like that?
Oh yeah. So the Secret Art Night was really like a galleries night. So for one evening, you had like 10 galleries that they opened the door till late. We had also one secret location that was a new art gallery that made the grand opening on that night. And the idea was really to make that the people they can discover what's going on about the art scene here in Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
Because many people they maybe know one or two galleries or they just know a little bit, but actually there is quite a lot.
Yeah.
You have a lot of artists, galleries, collectors.
Yeah.
So we decided with Nate from Quintet and Gaboudal to set up this event. And the idea is really to make this a yearly event and try to attract the attention, and not only attention from the people in Chiang Mai, but also outside of Chiang Mai, people from Bangkok. Because usually it's like Bangkok is the center for many things.
Of everything. The startups, the arts.
But no, Chiang Mai is great, but it's made me better. And like also it shows when you work together, more like with the community, then you can create a bigger event and attract more attention. That's also really the idea with that.
Yeah, I think these events are so important in sort of how we market the city as a destination, right? Like the Jai Tap Festival, which, you know, because of the circumstances has been delayed, but like, wow, like an international music festival in Chiang Mai of bringing artists of that caliber, I think changes people's perspectives, right, of what's going on here in Chiang Mai. Your secret art night highlighting, you know, that, it's not just traditional handicrafts, it's not just the heritage arts, like that's an important part of Chiang Mai's identity, but we also have like modern art, we have like cool young hip artists and like interesting creative venues happening here as well. I kind of just, I've been having fun conversations with people and thinking about branding Chiang Mai a little bit, you know?
And it's also like, as I say, like usually people see the traditional art, the temple, but also with the time now, like with the COVID, people, they came already to Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
So they visited already the traditional things.
Yes.
So at some point it's like, we need to bring something new. We need to show, hey, what's going on? And we are in 2021.
Yep.
So it's also, hey, we need to live in our time and show what's going on now. Maybe the people, what are their worries, their dream? No. And with art, it's something that you can discover too. Yeah.
I think in Thailand too, artists are very, I think artists are very savvy in a way in terms of, you know, Thai people are very savvy at using social media, and like the way that Thai people like riff on memes and culture, I think is always really interesting. You see sometimes like in the street art, just weird mashups of ideas, you know, and because you have an idea that's maybe imported from like a Western influence, And because Thai people come from like a different historical cultural background, the way that they interpret that is just, you're just like, what? How did you even get there? Yeah, I think those things are interesting to see.
Yeah, really. That's I find that the art scene in Thailand is really interesting. It's like something that you usually abroad you don't know, because there's not that many artists, Thai artists that go abroad.
Yeah.
And it's really when you are here like, hey, wow, there is really great things.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you would sum up who you see as like your Chiang Mai community, how would you describe those people?
Oh,
like what's Catherine's Chiang Mai?
So for me, it's like not only one community. Maybe because I'm so with my job, with Cigarette at Night, it's like I'm in a different one.
Yeah, being in the media is really amazing for networking, right? Like you meet a lot of different people.
Yes, and Chiang Mai is really easy actually to meet people, because it's also like people cross a lot. It's not that the community are really separate.
Yeah,
it's like maybe you meet some French community like together, but then you can meet them again in a opening of a gallery, or in a music festival, or in a meetup for entrepreneur. So it's really like people are moving a lot. So it's this is interesting, and also with the community feeling, I find that people are really like help each other a lot. It's not that individualistic. So this is the great things as well, especially more in Chiang Mai, obviously compared to Bangkok. So it's maybe also the distance, because it's so easy to go around.
It's smaller, right? Like it is, I think one of the great things about Chiang Mai is like, to me, and what my preferences are at least, I think it's like the perfect size. It's big enough that there's an audience for things, that you have enough people around to support arts and culture, but it's small enough that you see people you know, you can make connections, and those feel like a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, and so you want to support people because you see them around, and you see how like just a little push, a little nudge, a little bit of support here can go so far.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing.
All right, so feeding the arts, feeding our souls, helping people, and exploring different communities, hanging out here in Chiang Mai. Thanks for joining us, Catherine.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lily.